Hey guys, it's Kavitha and Stan with the Sports Convo, and there's some sports going on, but what we're really excited about right now is the NFL draft. It is starting very soon. How do you feel, Stanley?
I am very excited about it, ready to get into it, having a beverage so we can discuss the players. Oh, nice. Discuss players and matches for teams. I think that the alcoholic beverage theme is what goes on in the Las Vegas Raiders draft rooms. It would explain a lot of their draft picks in recent years.
Well, hopefully they'll do a little bit better this year. You got to go a little bit light with these light seltzers. You can't drink the heavy stuff too early, or you make mistakes.
The seltzers have taken over, by the way, man. It's the new wave.
It's the new wave. Well, let's get started with talking about some of the top positions and who are some of the top players for these positions. So let's get started with the offensive side of the ball first. So at QB, come on, everyone was tanking for him. Number one guy is Trevor Lawrence. Do you agree, Stan?
I don't. I think it's Zach Wilson. No, it's definitely Trevor Lawrence. Chris Sims, who I love as an analyst, has come out and stated that he thinks Zach Wilson is better than Trevor Lawrence. Now, I think Chris Sims has been partaking in 420 festivities too much. So although I love Chris Sims and I think he's a great analyst, I think he's dead wrong. There's no doubt about it. Trevor Lawrence is far and away the top quarterback. There is no competition this year.
Well, let's hope we don't eat our words. But I do agree. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields is also very good. And then, all the hype around Zach Wilson because of the Jets just eyeing him so closely. I guess they round out the top three. We also have Trey Lance and
those guys are basically all, Justin Fields and Trey Lance are, in my opinion, basically Cam Newton clones. Justin Fields is Cam Newton with better accuracy. Trey Lance is Cam Newton with less accuracy. So those are going to be projects. They're not going to come right in. They're going to need time to get groomed in the NFL. And Zach Wilson, he played against lower competition with BYU. So I think that's going to be a struggle. And we'll have more on that in our mock draft. But we'll get into him a little bit more on the fit there.
All right. And then we've got the running back position, which is always quite coveted. So Najee Harris from Alabama, very, very good. Javonte Williams from UNC, and then Travis Etienne from Clemson. These are the top three running backs at the time. What do you think, Stan?
Yeah, I love all three of them. Javonte Williams, great sleeper name, by the way. For those of you who pay attention to fantasy and our fantasy preview, that's a name to watch. His running mate, Michael Carter-Williams, he's going to be a good late round pick in fantasy, but the top two guys are Najee Harris and Travis Etienne. Look for the Steelers later in the draft to grab Najee Harris. They're linked to him. They need a running back. They need a quarterback that can stand upright too, but that's going to be a great match for both of them. For me, I love Travis Etienne. I think he's the better running back in today's NFL. He reminds me a lot of Jamal Charles, the peak and healthy Jamal Charles. He's just a slashing running back. He can go in between the tackles as well. Pass catcher. He can do it all. He's today's ideal running back, Travis Etienne. But Najee Harris, you can't go wrong. He's a stockier build, and I think the Steelers and their fans are going to love him in the Steel City.
All right, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We're going into the mock draft.
We are. I got a little excited about the running backs.
You're getting real excited about the running backs. And Alabama definitely produces some good ones, as the Titans.
Yes, they do.
And then we have the wide receivers. At the top of the list is Jamar Chase. And then, of course, Devonta Smith. He won the Heisman last year. He cannot be forgotten. Even though a lot of people think his size may be a problem in the NFL, I still think someone who is that good in college will prove himself in the NFL as well, but we'll see. And then Jalen Waddle, also from Alabama. Alabama had some stellar players this year, so both of them round out the top three. What do you think, Stan?
Yeah, I agree with you. I love the top three. I have the same. Jamar Chase is a beast. If you thought Justin Jefferson was going to be an ideal wide receiver and with the success he had, Jamar Chase has always been better throughout their careers at LSU. He's the main go-to guy. I would put Jalen Waddle as my number 2. I think he's a playmaker, more of the Tyreek Hill mold for him, just fast, can run routes. He's perfect for today's game. And how about the disrespect to Devonta Smith? I'm giving him the number 3 slot, but I think a team is going to get a steal with him. I think he gets a knock for being smaller as far as stature, but look, he's compared to Marvin Harrison, and as a Colts fan, that's not a bad comp for him. So if anyone gets lucky to have Devonta Smith, you might have another Marvin Harrison on your hands.
All right. And then we'll round out the offensive side of the ball with the tight end position.
The tight end. Do we even need to speak beyond the first name? I don't think there's anyone close to that guy.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts is definitely the top guy at this position. There are a couple of more from Penn State. We have Pat Freiermuth.
Oh, baby Gronk. Yeah.
Yep. So he's also got some quickness in that position. So yeah, maybe there's not a lot. Kyle Pitts is head and shoulders above the rest. But those are the offensive players that we like. On the defense side of the ball, who do you have, Stan?
All right. Look, so it's not a great edge class, and a team like my Colts are looking for these guys, but it's a great linebacker class. And I feel like I'm going to mispronounce his name from Notre Dame, so I'm going to just double check the pronunciation more so than anything. But
you can just call him OK.
Okay, yeah, I like that. I like that. But I think Jeremiah Owusu Karoma, my apologies if I mispronounced it, but he's a beast, much like the other top linebackers in the draft. Micah Parsons from Penn State, Jamin Davis, and Jabril Cox even. Those guys are sideline to sideline. They're fast. They can cover. This is a draft class that's deep at linebacker. You're going to get a potential stud with any of those guys, and you can get them throughout the draft in the first and second round. So watch for those guys to be beasts in the league. I think linebacker is a strong suit for this draft.
I agree. And don't forget the name Zaven Collins. He's also one of the top guys. But you're right. There's a lot of good linebackers in the draft this year. At the edge, you said your Colts might be looking for someone to help them on the edge. Who do you think is some of the top ones there?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the edge, and my guy that I love, and I think a lot of these edge guys are guys that need to be groomed. I don't think they're going to come right in and dominate. Kwity Paye has been talked about popularly. Jason Owa, Jalen Phillips, the guy from Miami, but he retired early in his college career. And look, as a Colt fan, I'm still have flashbacks and bad memories of Andrew Luck retiring early. So I don't know if I want any part of those guys. A guy that I do love is Washington State's Joe Tryon. Joe Tryon, he was a monster at Washington, had a great 2019. He opted out last year. So I'm hoping people forget about him and he falls to the Colts. But the edge, while not great, there's depth. Guys like Chris Rumph, there's a guy, Jordan Smith, who had some credit card issues at Florida and got kicked off the team. He's a guy, and a name to watch late in the draft is a guy named Janarius Robinson from Florida State. He has all the tools, the size, the speed, the moves, but Florida State doesn't groom their players, and that's been the knock on their program. But Janarius Robinson, late, probably in the 5th round or later, is a guy to watch.
All right. Well, I don't really have much to add there. I think you covered them all, even that sleeper within Janarius Robinson. So why don't we get started with our mock draft? I feel like you're kind of heading in that direction anyways.
I love the draft. I love the draft. It's my favorite time of the year. And look, it's like Christmas, unwrapping presents. And most teams get maybe 6 to 12 basically presents or new players. But if you're bad, like the Houston Texans, you only get maybe 3 or 4 presents this year.
All right. Shout out to the AFC South.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So number 1 in the draft is the Jacksonville Jaguars. So were they the smarter one to tank really hard for Trevor Lawrence? Well, come on. That was the saying last year. They tanked for Trevor Lawrence. So who are they going to get with their number 1 pick? It's going to be Trevor Lawrence. There is no surprise there.
There is no surprise there. Salman Khan or Shahid Khan, whatever the Khan guy is that owns that team, they're all in on Trevor Lawrence.
Man, when you said Salman Khan, I had Bollywood flashbacks.
I knew it was one of the Khans.
All right, so number 2 is the Jets. Who do you got at number 2, Stan?
All right, we know how this will play out. The Jets will draft Zach Wilson, but the likelihood of success that Zach Wilson will have with the New York Jets is the same likelihood of success that Caitlyn Jenner will have running for governor of California.
Oh,
They're
so
both
very
not,
good.
they're both not going to succeed.
That's quite a comparison, Stan. I like it. I like it. So at number 3, San Francisco took this pick. And, you know, they definitely need to bulk up their defensive line, but they might want to back up Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo is great. He's great to look at. He has some moments, but he is very he is very injury prone. So they might go in and try to back him up with a QB pick. And I think that they might go in and get Justin Fields. That's what I think.
Now, I think a smart team would do that. If you trade all the ammo they did to go up to number 3, Justin Fields or Trey Lance is the better pick. But all the experts and all the signs point to them picking Mac Jones. And now Mac Jones is a little bit of background there. His game is similar to Kirk Cousins. And there were rumors Kyle Shanahan wanted Kirk Cousins in San Francisco a few years back. So ultimately, I think the Niners make the wrong pick here and go with Mac Jones. Nothing wrong with Mac Jones. He's a solid quarterback, can be a game manager. And look, it just helps other talent fall down the draft. I think the Niners go with Mac Jones. I don't agree with the pick, but I think that's where they go.
All right, so we're both saying quarterback, but just different ones.
That's
so
right.
We'll see. In Atlanta, who do you have Atlanta taking at number 4?
All right, Atlanta, I don't think it's a question. They should just run up to the board as soon as he's there and take possibly the best player in this draft, Kyle Pitts.
Oh.
They must think that Matt Ryan probably has a few more years left, and it's the player that's on their board at number 1 and on most teams' board as number 1 is Kyle Pitts, probably maybe one of the best tight ends to come out in an NFL draft. He's the guy you take. He's the guy that can look, even if you move off from Matt Ryan, he's a guy that you could build a foundation on in the future. He's a mismatch everywhere. He's Calvin Johnson basically at the tight end position. So you can't defend him. That's who I would go with if I was the Falcons.
All right. Well, I agree with you. I think that if they're looking for someone on the offensive side of the ball, he's the one to go for. The Bengals have number 5, and they need to give Joe Burrow a chance. Last year, he did have a season-ending injury. Hopefully, he'll be coming back this season, and they need to give him a weapon. So I think that they take a wide receiver with their number 5 pick, and Jamar Chase is going to be the one that goes to the Bengals.
This is why we're partners. This is why we think alike and we offer great content. All the mock drafts have them taking Penei Sewell as the offensive lineman because of Joe Burrow being hurt and needing protection. But the thing that people forget is this is a draft class that's deep at offensive tackle. You can get tackles in the 2nd or 3rd round. What you can't get is a stud receiver like Jamar Chase. Now, there are receivers, pick your flavor, what you want later in the draft, but you don't get Jamar Chases. They don't fall off the tree very often. If you can get Jamar Chase, reunite the top LSU receiver with his quarterback, that's what you do. Make your quarterback happy, get an offensive tackle in the next round. But yes, we're both on the same page. Jamar Chase should be going to the Bengals.
All right, very good. And now we move on to the Dolphins. Who do you think the Dolphins are going to take at number 6?
The Dolphins get lucky, and they could use a guy like Penei Sewell. That's a guy that's going to help Tua be the game manager that they need and that they want. Brian Flores is building a great defense. They just need Tua to manage the game like he did at Alabama. Give him a good left tackle, and there you go.
Yeah, well, I think that they need to get Tua a good weapon to throw to, just like Joe Burrow needs one. So I think that they might go with the wide receiver. And here, I think Jalen Waddle is the guy that they go with. Again, you know, I would love to see Devonta Smith be the one that goes there, but everyone's a little bit, like I said before, a little afraid of his size. And is it gonna size up in the NFL? So I think that the Dolphins go for a wide receiver and they take Jalen Waddle.
All right, I like that. We differ a little bit there.
So at number 7, we have the Lions. So the Lions, they got Jared Goff. So hopefully they will stick with him for at least a year to see how he does and don't try to go in and get a QB there. They do need a lot of help on their defensive side, but I think that they could also use a weapon for said Jared Goff. So whoever doesn't get taken by the Dolphins, Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, I think the other one goes here to the Lions. What do you think, Stan?
I agree. I debated giving Detroit Michael Parsons just because Dan Campbell is a very old school guy, plays defense, stop the run, that kind of old school mentality. So Micah Parsons is a debatable one, but I agree with you. I think you got to give Jared Goff weapons, help him succeed. He's already coming off a disappointing year and his confidence might be at a low. What better to help him than Jalen Waddle? You give him kind of a Tyreek Hill kind of offensive player, and they play in that dome, could be a difference maker for the upward mobility of Jared Goff's career in Detroit.
Let's hope that it happens for him. At number 8, who do you have the Panthers taking at number 8?
All right. Sam Darnold got shipped out of New York, and a lot of the reasoning was because he suffered because of a bad offensive line. I think the Panthers look to give him a solid foundation with Rashawn Slater. Rashawn Slater can play tackle, he can play guard. However they use him, they'll use him in the right way. They'll try to keep Sam Darnold upright and help him succeed as a Carolina Panther.
And I agree. We do need to see Sam Darnold stand upright at the Panthers. So I agree with you. I think they need someone to protect him because he did not get any protection at the Jets. At number,
especially when he got mono, could have used some protection there.
That's a different type of protection, but yes, we're on the same page. At number 9, we have the Broncos, and I think the Broncos are going to need. They loved Drew Lock. I loved Drew Lock, but I didn't see much of Drew Lock last year, so I think that they might actually be in the market for a new QB. Why not? Why not get a backup for Drew Lock? So I think if Mac Jones is available at this time in the draft, I feel the Broncos may go for a Mac Jones, a Trey Lance, or a Justin Fields, whoever is available at that time. What do you think, Stan?
I do agree with the fact that they're going to go quarterback. Now, I love Drew Lock. I love how he's a great rapper, but he hasn't proved to be a great quarterback on the field. So my issue with him is that Denver is going to look to upgrade. Now, right, they can go either way. Whatever their flavor is, whether they want to go Justin Fields or Trey Lance. Trey Lance is going to need a lot more grooming and adjustment to the league. He's a lot further on in his, a lot later on in his development than he's going to need more time. Basically, you're going to have Justin Fields who can step right in and do a few things. Like I said, he's Cam Newton with better accuracy. So I think that's going to be a team along with Denver's top defense that maybe helps them and gives John Elway a comfort level that they can compete right away. So I go with Justin Fields.
All right. Well, we're both in agreement with the QB there. Which one will all depend on who is left because it's going to be a QB heavy first round for sure.
They've been trying to get one since our boy Peyton Manning left, and they haven't been successful.
That's going to be hard. It's going to be hard.
Exactly. Hard to replace the GOAT.
Hard to live up to him.
Yeah, exactly.
We lost all the Tom Brady fans just right now.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Damn, that Super Bowl.
At number 10, we have the Cowboys. Who do you think the Cowboys are going to take at that position?
All right, the Cowboys have disappointed me the last few years, and mostly it's been on defense. I predicted them to try to win the NFC East, but they've been a failure on defense. They need a playmaker. The playmaker that they're going to go with is going to be a corner. It's either going to be Patrick Surtain the second or J.C. Horn, coming from a good NFL lineage with their parents being all Pro Bowlers in the NFL. I think they go Patrick Surtain just because he's probably a more of a polished product. He could step right in and he could shut down the top receiver. He's going to probably be needed to shut down top receivers in the NFC East like Kenny Golladay all of a sudden. But I think they go Patrick Surtain too, but I could see them going J.C. Horn as well.
Okay. Well, I agree. I think it's their defense really needs some help. So they're going to go with a defensive player, but I thought they would go more for someone like Micah Parsons from Penn State if he is available.
Yeah.
And if they're a little gun shy with the risk that Miss Parsons brings, then they may go for Zaven Collins from Tulsa. But I think we're both in agreement that they're going to need someone to bulk up their defense because that did not look good last year. So we're going to give you a bonus. We were only going to do the top 10, but
look at
number 11
lucky fans out there, you lucky followers.
I know, because at number 11, who's hanging out there at number 11? It's where we live, New York State, the Giants. The Giants are hanging out at number 11, and I think that they want to get Jones a playmaker. I think that Jones needs a playmaker as well, but they need to get their defense more stout with an edge rusher. So I think if Kwity Paye from Michigan is still available at number 11, I think he is who they will pick. What do you think, Stan?
So here's what I think. I think you're right, and I think they go edge because the rumors have been Dave Gettleman, their GM, desperately wants an edge rusher. He wants it. He's an old school guy. He wants to put pressure on the quarterback. He wants a stout defense. Although if Devonta Smith falls this low, I think if you're the Giants, you've got to jump on him and help Daniel Jones take that next step. If you give him weapons, there's no excuse for Daniel Jones this year. Kenny Galladay has an injury history. You give him Devonta Smith, and you just give him another option in the offense. But I could see them going Kwity Paye. I love that pick. I'm going to give them Devonta Smith just because the value is there.
All right. If he's available at that time, I think they should get him. They should definitely get him. So we gave you a bonus, but then we're giving ourselves a bonus because how can we not talk about the teams that we love, right?
That's right.
So, because we were a little bit better, the Titans, we have the later draft picks. I'll let you go first, Stan. You pick at number 21.
Very nice of you. Oh, just because we snuck in as a wild card last year. Yeah, I get that. I appreciate that.
At number 21, who do you think you will take?
So here's what I can put some money down, I think, on this one, that the Colts will most likely trade down. Chris Ballard loves them picks. His words, not mine. He likes to accumulate picks throughout the draft. Therefore, you got more shots at the dartboard. So what I think, though, is, but I don't want them to go down too far because I do want them to try and get Joe Tryon from Washington State. I love that guy. I think he can be an instant playmaker. The other guys might have a little bit more talent, but he has a lot more drive. His motor never stops. He's just a guy that the rest of the defense can feed off. I think you go Joe Tryon, and maybe in the second round, you grab that tackle. A guy I would watch for is Walker Little from Stanford. A few years ago, he was going to be a top 20 pick, had a knee injury in 2019, and didn't play in 2020. So people might forget him. But Joe Tryon and Walker Little, if the Colts come out with those guys, I am very happy.
That's so funny, Stan, because I also had the Colts taking Joe Tryon from Washington.
Great minds.
Let's maybe put bets on that. I'm sure there's some prop bets out there. We should put a bet on
New
it.
New York is getting gambling soon, so hopefully they can get in time for the draft. I doubt it.
In time for the draft, but at least in time for the season. In time for the season, we can put in some good parlays. Which are
right. Well, Cuomo has a lot going on right now, so I don't know if he's going to be able to push this through.
So right after the Colts, we have the Titans at number 22. I was so sad to see Jonnu go, and maybe we need to replace him. And if by chance Pitts is available at that time, I think it's a no-brainer. We go and get Pitts. But I don't think that's going to happen. So I think we need someone to strengthen our defense. And for that, I think we're going to get Jabril Cox from LSU. And I like that. What do you think, Stan?
Yeah, I love the player. I love all these linebackers. Like I said, it's a strong suit for the draft. It's one of the stronger positions. Jabril Cox, as a Colt fan, I'm not too happy if you get that guy because Mike Vrabel, being the linebacker he is himself, going to impart too much good advice for him. So I want a shot to win the division. I don't want to see the Titans keep taking over.
Oh, but it's going to happen. You got to get used to it. We're getting better.
That will be a wager. That will be
definitely a wager. It's going to have to happen. So in a couple of months, you guys are going to see us.
Yeah, exactly.
Quite a fun wager on who's going to get further. And so then we're going to give you one more bonus. I mean, everyone knows the Steelers, the black and yellow. They lost James Conner, although James Conner wasn't really doing that great. So they have a huge need at running back. And as Stan said earlier, he thinks that they're going to get
Harris. Yeah, I think that's a locked-in pick for him.
But if there's not a lot of people in the draft looking for running back, so I think he'll be available. But if not, then I think Travis Etienne from Clemson will be the one that goes to the Steelers. So we both are in agreement with running back.
Yes, I love Travis Etienne as the Steelers. But I think Najee Harris fits the Steeler mold more. He's just he can also be a bruising back. He can do things out of the backfield. He's more of a fit for what the Steel Town wants.
All right, so there you have it. We didn't cover every team because we didn't have that much time, but we hit the basics. We hit the top 10. We hit our teams and a couple of bonuses. So let's see what we got right. And we're excited about the draft, which will be starting on Thursday, April 29th.
Now, the Sports Combo Plus will have a lot more in-depth coverage. So tune in. We got the draft covered all week leading up to Thursday. Enjoy the draft and good luck with your respective teams.
Yes, good luck.